Welcome to Coleman Report Live, April 13th edition. We have Lance, Katie, and Leslie. How you doing, Leslie?
Good. How is everybody else?
Worn out. On Monday.
Busy. Leslie, tell us what you do for the industry.
Thank you. I'm Leslie Tripp, and my company, L Tripp Consulting, we're based in Maryland, and we specialize in loan compliance and specifically SBA program compliance and SBA independent loan reviews. If you are a new SBA lender, we can help set up your SBA program. If you need temporary staffing to handle your PPP volume, we have SBA experienced people who are E-Tran proficient. We have some closers, some underwriters, some packagers, and other people experienced at all levels of an SBA department. We do have some availability in our temporary staffing, but they are going fast. In addition to that, we can review your SBA loans prior to disbursement for compliance to the SOP. For my Community Advantage lenders, if you need help improving your Community Advantage program, please contact us. Let's see, we can review your 10-tab files for compliance before you submit them to the Guaranteed Purchase Center. And lastly, when your audit or risk department tells you that you need to have a third party review your SBA loans, we can perform an independent loan review where we take a sample of your loan files and we review them for compliance to the SOP, and then we summarize any issues into a final report for your senior management. This strategy helps to identify deficiencies and recommend solutions that should minimize future errors. All of our services can be done remotely, and we are open for business. Our phone number is 240-508-8349, and our website is www.ltrippconsulting.com.
Wonderful.
So please give us a call.
Yeah, and I included your brochure in our handout section. You can just download that and give
Thank
Leslie
you.
a call. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's go into, I have one poll question today. Simply, are you submitting and funding these PPP loans?
I bet the percentage is quite high today, Joe.
Mm-hmm. It seems like every time we ask this question, we're getting more and more people saying yes, they're able to do it, which is a good thing, but it also means we're running out of funds. Like we were just talking about, it's going down fast.
Look at that, 86% for you guys on phones, 86% yes. Good job. This is from the SBA over the weekend. Lance, tell us about this. So the gateway is completely open and up and running, right?
Well, the strange thing about this is I read this update that they were doing an update to Capital Access Financial System, E-Tran, for lack of a better word. And when they were supposedly doing the update, I was still working in E-Tran. So I'm a little curious about it. I haven't really noticed anything significantly different today.
Mm-hmm.
In working in E-Tran, E-Tran has improved from day to day in terms of operation being operationally efficient, and it's not been kicking me out. In fact, today I was sharing with Leslie and Katie, I've done a substantial number of PPP loans and have not been kicked out once. So it's working pretty well.
Question from the audience, from Brian. I read that the new portal is only for SBLCs. Is that correct, or is that incorrect?
I have no idea. Maybe there's a new portal that I'm not aware of, and that's a strong possibility, but I'm just working in the straight EAFS, and popping into E-Tran origination is where I've been spending all of my time.
Right.
That's sweet.
Tell us about the reporting status. Do you, as a lender, are you dealing with Coleman? Do you have people that are sending it? Or is that working? Is that back up and running?
Our institution is large enough that we have a separate department that does that, and I'm sure it's electronically fed into a 1502 report. These PPP loans are going to be interesting for the small community bank that might have had 30 or 40 SBA loans, and all of a sudden their portfolio balloons up to a couple hundred SBA loans. The 1502 reporting activity is certainly going to be not more challenging, but a lot more effort, a lot more work on the part of whoever's working on the 1502 report. Hopefully they'll have a way to some of the platforms like PCFS and others will electronically feed your 1502 report, and I hope that's the case.
A new FAQ has been uploaded. If you guys, I've attached that as well. The easiest way is just to get on SBA's list, and they're emailing us 3-4 times a day now, Lance. Are you seeing those updates?
I am, and basically the SBA loan authorization, when you're in E-Tran, you can actually create an authorization, but it's not a good authorization. And SBA is not requiring an authorization at this time on the PPP loans, and quite frankly, I don't see that they will implement an authorization on this because we're set, what'd you say, Katie, almost 70% through all the first round?
Yeah, we've got about 38% left. I just ran the numbers a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, so every bank is it's like we're in a race to the finish line right now. Every bank is putting, I'm getting calls from borrowers saying, you got to get mine processed. They're going to run out of money. And, I did not feel that until today, and I'm looking, and there's still quite a bit of money left, but we're almost hitting the 70% mark in terms of utilization of funding. The Senate's meeting, right, Katie?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
They're supposed to be meeting today.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to propose because they already turned down the previous offer to almost double it. So we'll see if they end up refilling this. They kind of were talking about adding some other things that they wanted to put some funding toward. So hopefully they get this program refilled, though.
Leslie, have you heard anything on the policy, on the increase in funding to the program?
No, just reiterating what Katie just said, but I know everybody's hoping that it'll come out.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and the thing that's happening is the way it looks, the pace we're on. Funding will run out this week, most likely. So the Congress needs to step up and provide some additional funding for this program because many institutions are probably sitting there looking at hundreds, if not thousands, of applications. And I think the biggest challenge, Leslie and I were talking about this, we have a huge team at our bank working on this project. And if we work from sun up to sundown, it'll be hard to get all of those processed prior to all the money being gone unless they refill it. So let's all cross our fingers and hope that they can work together. I think what I saw is they tried to sneak some funding for hospitals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that as well. Lance, I know you're working around the clock on PPP loans, but can you give us an update on the current 7A loans? Any update on when? We have a question from Carolyn. It's a great question, Carolyn. Any update on when SBA will be making the payments on existing 7A loans or getting the information to the banks as to where to send them?
I think part of that is subject to the reporting because Coleman's supposed to extract some information. And Leslie, you look like you might have some information here, but they're supposed to make those payments within 30 days. Now, what happened, that's probably going to be based on the 1502 report that went in this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suspect the payments on the existing SBA loans will occur probably in early May. That's just my guess based on the way the law read. Leslie, do you know?
That's what I would guess too, Lance. I agree. Of course, we're just guessing.
Yeah. you know, it will happen. It's like everything with SBA. It's a matter of timing. And so, I mean, I fully expect this to be ran efficiently on the part of SBA. And I think they're probably just awaiting information that gets extracted by Coleman from the 1502 reports.
Katie, you had a great article this morning. Go out. Tell us what you did for Main Street Monday.
Right. So I actually thought that was very interesting. It was about how the Main Street optimism has plummeted, and it really only started plummeting as this CARES Act was really getting initiated, and right around when it passed. And the CARES Act was possibly passed at that time due to this concern at the time. But also you're seeing that people were getting more and more anxious about the situation as they saw that their lenders did not have the answers, and they were scared that they were not going to get the funding. So we went from having one of the highest optimism levels on Main Street that we've ever seen to falling to the lowest. It fell 8.1 points, according to the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Last month, and that really took place within about a 1 week period. And that's probably the fastest it's ever dropped like that. And you're seeing what the reason a lot of it's dropping is because about 92% of small businesses are now self-reporting that they are now being affected by this. And they thought they could go maybe a month or two, but now it's really starting to hit them.
Right. And Lance, I'm sure you've been talking with your borrowers. What are you seeing? Is this accurate? I mean,
I think that optimism is higher with some, because I think many people were worried about the PPP loans in terms of how quick they're going to get their money. I can report to you that our institution has an incredibly efficient system in processing these, and many of my customers have already received funding on their PPP loans. And certainly if you ask them right now, they're, breathing a sigh of relief. What Katie was talking about, I've been in this game since 1983. Small business owners typically do not have months worth of working capital laying around. That's the big concern with most restaurants. Most restaurants can handle 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but they can't handle 2 or 3 months of not being in business. So these PPP loans are critically important to them. The EIDL loans are important to them. And as those fund, you may see optimism rise. But here's the big thing, guys. The country has to open up. I mean, we can give them money to pay payroll and to cover rent and utilities. But if they don't have customers, that's something about lending I always told younger lenders. You can't, if you have a business that has a strong established revenue source, that's hard to create. A company that struggles with cash flow, you can go in and provide counseling and recommendations, and they can turn that part around and improve cash flow. But a company that don't have revenue, is going to struggle. So, as soon as possible, and I know health is the primary concern, but, I sat and thought about this over the weekend. The PPP loans are 2.5 months worth of payroll. Well, what happens if the country's not open in, 3 or 4 months? Is there going to be a second round of PPP funding where we go back and give them another couple months? I don't know. So, I think there is some optimism on Main Street when people are starting to get funded with this, but there still is some concern because nobody knows exactly. Now, I'm doing this show from my dad's business, and my dad just had one of the best weeks he had this year in revenue in his business, but he sells communication equipment. And for instance, churches are coming in and buying mobile PA systems so they can do their services in a parking lot, or they're buying necessary technology equipment so they can do their services online. He's had a real good, and I had another company that was in trucking, Joe, that they lease tractors and trailers to Walmart vendors. And those trucks and trailers are running up and down the road as fast as they can. So I've heard some reports of people doing incredibly well.
Mhm.
But I also have a bunch of restaurant customers who haven't been open for 4 weeks.
We have 2 questions. Maybe Leslie, you can answer the first one. How are you verifying the income for sole proprietors who don't use a payroll provider?
The sole providers just started, and there's a nice checklist that I think we had here on the show.
The most recent FAQ is updated in the dashboard guide, so you can either email me and I can send that to you. But Lance, what are you seeing for the sole proprietors? How are you calculating that? What have you seen on this tree?
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, Joe. At this point, I've not seen the sole proprietor project come through for E-Tran input. It's all been LLCs, corporations,
Right.
partners. I've seen quite a handful of churches. Yeah, but I will be seeing those soon. The way our system is set up, we have varying levels of review that occur pretty quickly. We're putting multiple sets of eyes on the payroll information. So by the time it gets to me, it's been verified.
Last question, can you increase the loan amount after you receive SBA approval? And what's that process?
That is an excellent question, and I'm not sure what the answer is. That is typically a loan increase is done through E-Tran servicing. But before I tried to increase a loan, a PPP loan, I certainly would want to get some sort of acknowledgement from SBA that that's okay. I've not heard that that's okay.
We are doing a big webinar on Wednesday with Lance. Lance, we appreciate all your expertise. We're going to go through all of this line by line. So everything you need to know will be fully analyzed and detailed on Wednesday. Sign up for that. We have our training is available if you guys need any underwriting or closing training. Lance put together a great course and goes through every SBA rule you can think of or form. With that, send your questions, send your comments and concerns, and we're here for you. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks.